goodbye to your Christmas trees. I will say that smells amazing. It's the final perks of Christmas. It's New Year's, which means that it's time to vandalize some more champagne bottles. You know, for science, or for my personal goals, for personal improvement purposes. It's gonna be fun. The tradition for the last 5 years has been to take champagne bottles, or their boxes, there's a bottle of champagne in here, and to write my goal for the year on that bottle of champagne. I've been doing this ever since 2018, back before I had a ceiling, you know, or furniture, or a life. And I've kind of kept it going every year since. And then when I successfully managed to achieve that goal, I can pop the bottle, have a grand old time. You saw this earlier this year when we popped the 20 pounds lost bottle. Hey, popped a bottle. I was hoping for more of a corky sound, but I guess it's not really cork. Which is a bottle that I've had for almost 5 years. It almost took me 5 years to get around to actually losing that 20 pounds. And it wasn't even the 20 pounds that I intended to lose. We'll get into that. I'm gonna drop 20 pounds. Now, I need to drop, I don't know if 20, I don't have a scale, but I'm pretty sure that 20 pounds is about what I should be aiming to drop. And I find it to be a really good tradition, one that you can modify as you see fit. Like if you write on the bottle one of the goals that you have for the year, and then over the course of that year you decide, you know what, this isn't really attainable, or it's not something that interests me anymore, or it was a noble pursuit. I no longer feel like I really want to go after this one. You can just cross it out and write in a new goal. At least that's a lesson that I've learned. I used to be very, very obstinate. I'm like, no, I'm going to make this happen. And now it's like, nah, you know, we can fix this. We can make some modifications. This bottle of champagne was actually a gift from Lindsay as a thank you for cat sitting. So it seems like a really good one to, if I had a pet oriented, I don't, but if I had a pet oriented goal, then I would probably write it on this one. Like I said, I've been doing it since 2018 now. I can't find the footage from 2020 for some reason. I thought I would look back, particularly at 2021, the year that seemed to have never happened. Who knows where it went. Look forward a little bit to 2022, and then write on a couple of new bottles. Like this bottle that my friend Lindsay gave me. Might as well vandalize it a little bit with one of my goals for the year. But before we get around to that, coffee, I obviously really need some coffee right now. I'm having technical problems that are mostly coffee induced. Okay, this is gonna make things go a little bit smoother. 2021, I don't know how you feel about it, but in some ways feels like it almost never actually happened. I still feel like I'm getting over 2020, which is, I know a lot of people feel that way. It came as a surprise when I sat down and actually looked at the year to see that I kind of had a theme. Sam reminded me yesterday that CGP Grey does themes for years. If you don't know CGP Grey, OG YouTuber, highly recommend that you follow him among so many others. But in looking back on 2021, I realized the theme of the year really was self-care. Like I graduated from therapy, which was really good. Actually prioritized sleep and friendships, like really making time for my friends and not overworking myself. Those are really, really big. I obviously never found the time to write the book that this represents. There's a book that I'm writing that's, you know, book one, what does it say? Draft one, book one, draft one. I was thinking about changing this, but we'll talk about that more when we look to 2022. But there's a lot of other stuff that happened in 2021 that was genuinely really good. And the theme of the year, like I said, turned out to be self-care. One more good run away from 800 miles for the year, which seems pretty good, especially considering, well, I think maybe last year, one of these years, I thought I'd try to get to 1,000. Not gonna happen. I had, you know, when you get COVID in the middle of the year or injuries the year before. So I'm pretty happy with how things turned out, to be honest. But my goal is much more, I don't know if this is gonna make sense, short-term and long-term goals combined, in the sense that long-term I have bigger goals for like my knees and my body to survive for a long time. So pushing it for the sake of pushing it to just arbitrary numbers like 1,000 miles doesn't seem so useful, especially when I've had a couple of scares like a bike accident last year and felt what it could be like to have knees that were screwed up. So definitely taking a little bit easier on that front. Didn't realize you could hear the geese quite this well when I was listening to the music running. The short-term goals, of course, then are the augmenting my weight loss. And we're gonna talk more about the weight loss in the future, and that's a huge success already so far this year. But you know, the short-term part of it is I wanna make sure that I'm out, I'm active, and that I'm helping the weight loss to come along and keep my body healthy, keep my heart healthy, just staying up and active. But then the not overdoing it is so that I can keep being active well into my late 80s or 90s. You wouldn't know I was 70 already, would you? And then I can be nimble and dodge cars like that when they come and try to run me over. There are a couple of big wake-up calls that happened this year too. It wasn't all pie in the sky. Obviously I missed 2021. Couldn't possibly be. Burnout was one of the biggest and most obvious. That really hit me really shockingly hard. Like, I had no idea just how bad it was gonna be, or that I even had another burnout in me, but I just careened straight towards it and smashed into it as hard as I possibly could. It's weird though that the burnout was actually kind of like a hidden blessing, especially because, you know, at the end of the day, I really needed that wake-up call. I had another one too. It really forced me to reevaluate and to take a step back and to put my health first. I was worried that I may never be able to do it again, so I'm very grateful that I have been able to come back to it. And that's why I'm also easing into things. I'm not producing as much video as I think I could and ultimately will. And I'm working my way towards it, but I want to make sure I ease into it so that I can keep doing it and never burn out again. Like, that's a huge goal just for life in general. Definitely needed the second coffee this morning. The other really rude wake-up call was definitely the I don't know if I meant, actually, how do I, nah, hold on. The other one was a gnarly tax bill that I got like a month ago, something like that, that I shared on my Patron only video. That I'm gonna be making a Patron only video every month now. If you are not already a patron and you've ever considered becoming one, it is amazing. It's what keeps me going. And you get extra perks, like early previews of videos like this one, as well as some Patron only videos, as well as access to my Mapster and all kinds of other goodies the higher up in those levels that you go. So feel free to jump on that, please. Here at the end of the year, it would make a huge difference moving into 2022. I'd love to enter it with a bang. But part of the surprise was that I got this gnarly tax bill because I didn't understand exactly how the French projected charges. Like, they look at it as though you're going to be earning the amount of money you started out earning for a long time, plus 20%, plus they want the money that you're going to be paying in the future now. And I was given a very large tax bill just upfront out of nowhere off of this system that I didn't fully understand. And I had been investing very heavily in secret project number 2 in particular, because in my mind, as an American, the thought is I'm going to take the money I have, I'm going to invest it in my business. I will operate at a loss, but it'll come out in the wash. We're going to figure this out. All my math that I had done going in was for the wrong system, which I can tell you is not a recommended way to go about doing business. So that tax bill actually forced me to pump the brakes on a couple of the secret project things and to really reevaluate and focus on, you know what, like, what am I doing? Why am I spreading myself so thin? Why am I not actively just doing the one thing that's right in front of me, which is YouTube? And that kind of brings me to 2022, because in a moment like that, where you look at where you are, where you've been, and you have a wake-up call like, why am I doing this? They're all cool projects. They're things that I really love, but I've never actually taken the time to stop and focus on YouTube. How can I come back and really focus on it and have fun doing it? I want to reclaim, like, obviously this, one of the things that we've lost over the course of the last couple of years is just the ability to go out and enjoy the little things in life, and that's coming back slowly, but that's only one element of what I'm hoping to bring back into the fold. Obviously, I want to keep prioritizing my personal health first and foremost, like keep getting sleep, keep spending time with friends, keep exercising. I've already seen such a huge benefit from getting in the gym for the last 4 months, from the weight loss element of that. I look forward to building a little bit more muscle. And again, we'll talk more about that in the future when the whole project is done. Don't want to get ahead of myself on that. That has to be a huge priority, but professionally, the only priority for me needs to be video. So if the theme of 2021 was self-care, and one of my goals was genuinely to try and rebuild my confidence to the point that I kind of like had to check myself because I was worried that I was like maybe bordering on arrogance occasionally. Did I just hit the microphone? Whoops. 2022, looking forward, the theme would be reclaiming the fun. I don't feel like I know how to have fun anymore. I know that was partially the pandemic, but even before that, I was an absolute workaholic. I didn't do anything for fun, or I just found all my fun in my work, which is not a good way to be fun. Part of having fun is trying new things, getting out, risking the rain with my camera, which no wonder sometimes my camera equipment is falling apart. Taking a step back and reevaluating from the burnout was one of the two most helpful things ultimately in reevaluating the future that I think laid out a foundation for a more successful 2022. One of the biggest things professionally that I need to do this year is focus. Like focus on YouTube, on making videos. I've talked about this a little bit before, and I talked about it with my patrons, some in the Patron only video that we recorded recently, but I've never really taken the time to fully and completely focus on this. I went from working like a handful of jobs and doing this on the side to being able to do this full time, but then doing a whole bunch of other projects that this was effectively enabling. And I never stopped to really just kind of focus and enjoy this. And I never even tried to grow. Like I've never been all that worried about growing on YouTube. Growth has never been in and of itself a goal for me, like getting the most views and going viral and all that kind of stuff. I did put some goals to subscriber counts in the past just to celebrate them along the way, but it's not something I've ever thought that I had that much control over. And that said, I've learned a lot about YouTube over the last couple of years, and I also just feel like the things that I want to do in the future and some of the things that I want to do now that I'm struggling to figure out how to do, both monetarily and just inertia-wise, would be at least made easier, if not partially, if not completely solved by growing a larger audience. And that's something that I've been avoidant of doing for a long time, and I want to find a way of doing it that remains true to myself, true to the channel, true to the whole story as it has unfolded already, but also hopefully is fun. And I don't know, it's a good time that I have a lot of fun and that we have a lot of fun, and then things enter into another phase. But growing on YouTube, I think, is something that kind of scares me, which segues nicely into the other things, which is leaning into things that kind of scare me. You see me start trying to do this by experimenting with some new things too. Like I want to lean into the things that scare me, not just in my personal life, but in YouTube and video production, the things that are challenging, the things that are blinding like the sun. I should be wearing sunglasses right now, but I just want to have fun. I want to lean into whatever feels most creative, something that's new, something that's different, even if it's just small elements like walking towards the camera, having a microphone on, little things like that, I think make a giant difference. Both hopefully for the quality of the video, because I want to keep improving what I'm doing for your benefit, and also just for the fun of trying something new and overcoming the hiccups and the hardships that come with having to learn new stuff on the fly when you feel like you've got a deadline, and you got to make sure that you're producing for your lovely viewers, patrons, and family and friends who are curious what the heck's going on in your life. And it is funny how many of those things I feel like I resist doing as well, fight against. I'm going to try not to fight too hard. I'm just gonna try and lean into it. So lean into the things that scare me in my regular life, which we'll talk about again later, and the things that scare me in my professional life, including the fact that I'm thinking about starting a second channel, which might explain why some things are a little bit weirder than you thought, but you know, my patrons already knew about that. Surprise, surprise to the rest of you. Talking about having a second channel is one of those things. I'm gonna leave some of the information about that to later, but it's part of the growth strategy. I've been thinking about it a lot. I've been talking about it with friends and really trying to think, how do I continue my vlog and continue to share this story, but also make something that may be a little bit more broadly appealing. I'm very grateful that you're here, and that if you've been watching the video this far in, you're probably pretty into whatever's going on here, and I really deeply appreciate that. I think it would be a lot of fun to take a lot of the skills that I've developed over the last 5 years, throw in some new ones that I'm playing with and that I would like to learn, and include more of my writing. Like one of the things that doesn't come through in vlogging is the amount of work I've put into developing my skills as a writer over the last decade, longer, I guess. And I would really like to be able to put that all together into something new, and something that I think most of you will really enjoy, but would be a little bit easier to share with people that maybe not so into the whole vlogging side of things, may not be so interested in Paris, may not be interested in me as a person. Can't imagine that being possible, but you never know. Weirder things have happened, but it gets me pretty excited to think about that. It's just a little bit scary to share it because it feels like I'm gonna have to actually commit to it. So personally, making sure to continue to prioritize sleep, exercise, time with friends, eating well, that has to come first, because I want my health to come first, and I want the longevity necessary to continue doing what I do. And then professionally, focus on video. So that would be YouTube. I might play around with TikTok again. We will see. I've never really done much there, but I feel like there's an opportunity there still that I should probably try to take advantage of. And then secret project number 1 may come into play because it is also video oriented, but we'll see how that goes. The first and most important thing is getting myself back into a real rhythm so that I can keep making videos for you. That's the first and most important thing. And I'm really excited about that. And that's kind of what 2022 looks like for me, really homing in. I mean, I just want to make sure that these wake-up calls and the various struggles that they have induced aren't for nothing. And I don't think that they will be, but health, YouTube, that's it. That's 2022 in a nutshell. And all of that encapsulated in the question of like, are we recapturing the fun? And if we're not recapturing the fun, well then, what the heck are we doing? Nothing fun, that's clear. I had to go buy another champagne bottle from the store because originally I was thinking that I might take this one, the Lanson, that references a book that I want to write, and modify it to match, you know, this year's goals. However, I think that, I mean, if I'm lucky, I'll get around to writing this year. I don't know that it's going to happen, but I still really want to write this book. I'm going to keep this one the way it is because I really, really want to write this. So in the spirit of keeping the dream alive, these two are going to be oriented directly around YouTube specifically and things that are within my control. I think it's really important to set goals that you actually have a level of control over. So doing things like subscriber count, as much as I would love to cross the landmark of 100,000 subscribers because of all the doors that would actually open for me, even just within YouTube as a platform, I can't control that. What I can control is the quality and the consistency of the videos that I make, and I can keep pushing to make the best videos possible. So this one, Lindsay's, I'm going to put as complete season 8. It's a really awkward way to write on a bottle. So this one, assuming that I complete the 20 episodes of season 8, we'll pop this bottle. And then I'll take a break because I'm learning to take breaks and we'll reevaluate from there how we advance. So that's the vlog. This one is specifically for the second channel. I have 6 videos that I've committed to making in all the brainstorming that I've been doing and thinking through a whole lot of different options, what I think will be broadly appealing, diving deeper into stories that you may be familiar with, but that I've never really talked about in my vlog or that have been largely buried over the span of 1,600 videos or however many videos are on my channel. However, it's not really a seasonal thing. Like I'm not thinking this in the same term of seasons as my vlog. This is something that I'm going to release the videos when they're ready, however long it takes me to make them. And so whenever we get to the 6th, the day that I post that and you get to see it is the day that we'll pop this bottle. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have a lot of fun making them. I hope you have a lot of fun watching them. And I hope you had a lot of fun watching this. Thanks to Rachel White, today's patron producer. And of course, if you made it this far into the video and would like to consider becoming a patron and coming along for the ride, I could use the help. I have some big and ambitious things that I'd really like to do, and I'm looking forward to whatever comes next, and being a patron is a huge way to help me with that. But even just being here and watching the videos, sharing them with somebody that you think would like them also does me a great favor. So thank you so much for watching, for being here, and just generally for making my 2021 way better than I thought. Upon reflection, 2021, there was a lot of good that came out of it. And we didn't even recap all the fun things like going to Sweden with my dad and Patron, or just getting to see my dad multiple times, which is pretty great. Or going to Moulin Rouge for the first time to see a friend dance. Let me tell you, a show like Moulin Rouge is made so much more fun just when you know people on stage. I had a really good time. I have never been to Moulin Rouge in the 5 years, I guess, how long have I lived here now? 8 years total, something like that? Never been. Have you been? You've never been. Never. And I still haven't shown you that I met Sir Nicholas, one of the coolest guys that I met recently, who makes a lot of the music that you heard in the end of season 7, or over the course of season 7. There's just so many cool things and cool people that have come into my life in 2021, and I'm so excited to see what happens in 2022. So I hope you're excited to get into 2022 with me. That maybe if you grab a couple champagne bottles, you can vandalize them yourself with your goals for the next year, and hopefully we can all pop a bunch of bottles together and have not just something, but a number of things to celebrate over the course of 2022. Here's to 2022. Here's to you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. See you next year.
I was thinking you didn't catch it.
Yeah.
But cheers.